I'm Dan, and this is 10,000 Hours of Indie, a podcast exploring new music and delving deeper into what goes on in the background of the independent music industry. I'm a musician and passionate music lover, and I wanted to delve deeper into new music in the independent scene around the world. I also saw this as a chance to help artists connect and share their stories, so if there's someone you hear and you want to find out more about, every podcast has links in the show description. Get involved, help this community grow, follow on the 10,000 Hours of Indie socials, you can find all the links in the show description. And also feel free to email me about anything music related, 10,000indie@gmail.com. I'm open to any ideas and love listening to your promos. Ghost on TV are a six-piece post-rock band from Helsinki. With three guitars, they create a sonic wall of sound while remaining minimalistic and allowing the subtle nuances of the music to shine through. Founded when the members were still at school, they have just released their third studio album, Iridescent, on May the 15th, which is fantastic. So I'm speaking with the guitarists Anthony and Aapo. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you very much for having us.
So Ghost on TV, where did that name come from?
It came from... we started the band initially so that there was me and Joona, our drummer, and Reko. And we initially started just jamming Radiohead covers, 16, and then slowly Otto came into the fold, and then Ossi as well. And then we started I kind of tricked him into playing. I had some riffs and stuff, and I was like, played some Radiohead, and then I was like, all right, let's try our own thing. And then it kind of became, all right, well, let's do a band out of this. Let's not just do covers. And then we were like, all right, we're going to come up with names, and 16, the names were awful, and we were kind of struggling with it. I think in general, naming things is a bit of a struggle with our band.
You have the same problem with song titles.
Yeah, that's why half of them are ridiculous. And but I had this Hail to the Thief poster in my room at home at the time, and there's these the Hail to the Thief album has all these slogans and stuff, but one of them was Ghosts on TV. I just simply jacked it from that, and it was the least ridiculous of so far suggested names. We went with that, and it's worked so far quite well.
Yeah. So what are the band's influences? Obviously, you've said Radiohead now.
Yeah.
If it comes to Finnish bands, I maybe hear a bit of Rubik. What else?
Well, obviously Radiohead. And maybe Godspeed You, Black Emperor.
Yeah,
and Swans.
I think one of the things that works with us as well, and I think that comes back to the whole, we're kind of friends first and then kind of bandmates after that, is I think we're all very much our own people. We all have our own kind of, we have shared influences Godspeed and Swans and maybe Current 93.
Yeah.
There's another one, that kind of stuff. But we all have our own kind of individual tastes, which I think we bring to the table. I know you and Otto are kind of the folk section, and you guys, I listen to a lot of metal stuff and noise music and quite harsh stuff. And then, Joona is very on point, I think, with what's going on in terms of indie music, and he's very much in that vein. And I know Reko likes a lot of minimalism, and Ossi is very much a pop guy, So it's kind of a mixed bag. I think we're influenced more by each other's personalities than any given band. Because we're all quite obsessive about what we like, though, and we're quite intense about it. So I think we're all kind of just throwing it all in and then negotiating, aka arguing about what rises to the surface.
I love David Sylvian to death. Anthony hates David Sylvian.
I think we've developed a certain kind of hive mind where even if we don't get what the other person's into, we kind of get what we can kind of extract out of it in a way. It's a lot of mediating different things.
Yeah.
And somehow we get along.
Yeah. Is there any one member who has the final say, or is everything very democratic after the fights?
We do work as a democracy. We've developed quite a good share of things. We all have our own kind of stations in a way that we do different things, you know what I mean? We'll have our own responsibilities. So I think that also helps. We'll get to feel a bit special about something. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it all kind of evens out,
How did you write these songs? Did somebody come in with a riff and it built on that, or did you just jam it out, or somebody had some words? What was the sort of starting point for making the songs here?
Nowadays, it really depends on the track. Like Amber Gold, that's very much Aaro's song. And then I wrote CCTV. That was kind of, I wrote a lot of that at home and sent demos, and then we just kind of worked it from that. I bring a lot of riffs to begin with, I guess, but it really does take all 6 of us. Like the demo for CCTV I did back in the day was very much like, it was just like an Ableton thing with like synths and stuff. And I sent it and kind of, to make sense of it, I had to send it to the other guys and be like, let's figure this out as a 6-piece. And so sometimes songs are more like that. Sometimes it's just bringing riffs. Sometimes it's just we start jamming and realize that works. And a lot of also, I think, with this album, a lot of piecing things together. So we'd have like, because this album, we threw a lot of stuff away, actually. We kind of went back to the drawing board a couple of times even. And there was instances where like we'd have a song that started with a certain kind of motif or something, which then didn't fit in that, and we threw the song away, but we take the part and put it to something else. And so it's kind of a nightmare to articulate, really.
Yeah, that's oftentimes, if it's like a riff or a motif or something, it doesn't always have the rhythmic context to it. If it's like starts out with a riff, and I think what Joona, our drummer, brings to it, how he hears the overall, the rhythmic idea behind it. For instance, if it's like a slower post-rock song, like a single riff doesn't yet have the whole context.
Yeah.
With that song, and the context builds up slowly through all of the layers.
Again, it's that thing of finding the balance and also giving credit to each other in terms of, sometimes I'll come up with a guitar thing. Well, I'll have like 3 guitars kind of lined up already on it.
Yeah.
But then Aaro and Ossi might be like, well, we'll do it more like this. And then it kind of, same thing. And then, but it kind of changes shape a bit. And then sometimes we'll argue about it, depending what mood we're in. But sometimes we'll be like, of course, that's better.
So this is your 3rd album, Iridescent. CCTV, in particular, it says was inspired by watching adolescents and documentaries on the manosphere, etc. How do you take that and turn it into a song?
For me, I mean, in the case of CCTV, it was very reactive in a way. I watch a lot of horror movies and stuff, and like watch a lot of really quote unquote disturbing things, but nothing quite disturbed me like adolescence in a long time. It's quite a profound thing. And we were talking earlier about like disconnecting from social media and kind of existing more in the kind of that came from a reaction of kind of wanting to exist more in the real world and kind of have more faith and believe more in like human face-to-face interaction and kind of the whole nuance of communicating as opposed to just text somewhere in the internet. But yeah, so I guess that it was kind of a reaction to that. But what I write, it's like with Sunshine, which I wrote the text for in the last album, what I try and do is write kind of prosaic ways. I like approach it more in terms of like a short story, I guess. So I guess CCTV was kind of a reaction of, let's write a kind of an hopefully unsettling kind of story of someone who is indulging those feelings, not in any way glorifying that by any means. In fact, quite the opposite. I think the bottom line with like all this manosphere thing is it's there's a lot of despair there that's just really badly manifested. I wanted to kind of bring out the ugliness in that, somehow narrate that. And so I guess that's how it kind of translates. You get a feeling and you try and contextualize it in some sort of like narrative. But again, it depends on who writes the lyrics. I've only written a couple of songs, CCTV and Sunshine, and then like Otto wrote the lyrics for Amber and Gold, and Ossi writes most of the lyrics. But whenever we have like songs with lyrics, but it's also like it's kind of a Slayer thing where like depending on who wrote the lyrics, the tone could be different and like a different approach to it. I know Ossi gets quite personal and Otto gets quite psychedelic.
So how long has the album actually taken to make? From first idea being brought into album on record shelves? Did you pretty much start as soon as the last album was finished?
Yeah, almost. In 2023.
I think this was the first time we kind of really started from scratch in that sense, where we had a few ideas going about, but we didn't really have like a list of songs anymore. And then when we did, we actually scrapped a whole bunch of them. Like, this took a while because we made a bunch of songs and we thought, should we go record these? And I thought, no, it's quite not right yet. And we started from scratch. And then I think we did that a couple of times just to get kind of the balance right and really kind of, I don't think we're perfectionists, but we do take a lot of pride in what we do in terms of it has to be a certain standard for us. I think finding that just took a minute this time.
Yeah.
Maybe because we were starting completely from scratch and just sometimes it takes longer.
So you released a video for CCTV, which is walking through the Finnish forest in winter.
Yeah.
What was the thinking behind the video? Because it's a very mellow video compared to the topic of the song, I would say.
So that's where I live. I live at, near the small town called Puumala, which is about 350 kilometers from Helsinki. And,
you live there now, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's shot around there. I have this cabin there that I live in. And actually the guy at the end of the video is my granddad who lives next door. I moved next door to my granddad.
Right.
And he's the album cover and all the like graphics for Iridescent from his paintings. He's a painter. And, we're going to go work on an exhibition in a few weeks as well. So that's kind of another thing. But yeah, so I filmed a video around there and I did it in one evening. I shot it in about 3 hours and edited it in about one and sent it. And it was very kind of an immediate thing, but it's just kind of, I was there, I had all this equipment and, my granddad does a bit of a cameo in that. I'd just gone to see, I think it was, what was the last David Lynch? Was it Inland Empire? One that he filmed on like, camcorder. I think 2006.
Yeah.
But I'd just gone to see that at the cinema and I might be mistaken. But I kind of wanted that kind of grainy, handheld footage, kind of Blair Witchy vibe.
That was what I got from it. Was like the Finnish Blair Witch?
Yeah, yeah, and it was so I was kind of just like playing around with that, and I don't know how apparent it comes across, but there's a little beam of light that like the DLV's following, and then it really like kind of reaches it at the end, but it's like that's the idea that it was like. We'll just kind of create that illusion of that delirium of like being drunk in the forest. You know what I mean? Like where you're not quite sure where you are and you fall over and you get up and things look different. And
the live version of the meme where all Finnish metal bands end up dying in the forest.
Yeah.
Lots.
Exactly. Yeah. No, but it was, I don't know. So it was just kind of a thing of, I just kind of took my surroundings and tried to do something with that. But there wasn't a lot of thinking involved too much. Just kind of being just intuitively influenced by different things, I guess, and putting it together. I think it was, according to the guys, it was sufficient. So.
It's a great word. You played your launch show in Kapsaki, which is traditionally used as a comedy theatre, and you've also released a live album that was recorded there.
It's kind of special venue and very underrated venue for. It doesn't have like regular band gigs or anything, but it's a place you can rent, and as it is an old theater, like the atmosphere, good sound, good atmosphere. This time we didn't have tables in there, and it was a standing gig, but there's also what do you call it?
There's like a balcony.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's just an option. Yeah, like nice option for Kuudes linja or Korjaamo or something.
We were talking about this with the Wolfred guys after the show, and because I mean we were talking about Virgin Oil earlier on before we started rolling, and like the circus. And a lot of venues in Helsinki have just been like closing down. I mean that's pre-COVID, but also I think it's just there is a bit of a lack of spaces. Like venue spaces in Helsinki.
Yeah,
so I think, because we were talking about it, like if we'd have done the record release show at say Kuudes linja or something like that, maybe even more people would have found it, in a way the turnout might have even been a bit better, but we wanted to do it at Kapsaki because kind of maybe also to prove a point that there is that these spaces do exist. As Aapo said, it's a good alternative to these things, and they work really well. And it's more, I guess, kind of showing that you can do this as well. You don't have to just book
the same old places every time.
Yeah, you can get creative with it as well.
Yeah.
Also, I think throughout like our career, the best shows we've ever done have been in places that haven't been conventional venues. We've played a lot like festivals in forests and things like that, where it's just like people just propped up PAs and stuff, and those are like theatre halls, like we did the regular festival in Tampere, and that was on a theatre space as well. And we kind of like the idea of just doing kind of maybe doing something a bit different. And it's a beautiful space.
Kaisla Kalo has like mixed us live many times, and she has done a lot of work in Kapsakki.
Yeah,
Kapsakki. So that's like a natural connection to that place.
You also played Tallinn Music Week this year. Apologies again that I didn't manage to see you. How did you find it? It was for me, I love Tallinn Music Week, but as a band, you only get to play like a 30-minute set, 40 minutes maximum. Is it worth the effort?
It was, absolutely.
Yeah.
And it was, that was really good. I played in another band at Tallinn Music Week. I think that was also 2019 and stuff. And that was at that venue in Helsinki that's no longer around, I think. And this venue, this D3, was also there and stuff. But we didn't quite know what to expect going in this time, but it was, that was really good. The turnout was really great. It was nice to see there was a lot of people who took the ferry over from Finland to see us. That was quite special because, we never expect anything like that. Of course not. And it's always really heartwarming to see that kind of community kind of action going on. And that's very cool. And shout out to everyone who did. No, I mean, I guess there's the evident kind of industry side, people can see what's this all about. And whether we don't really stress about that, I don't think too much. But like, it was really nice that then like the Kurvat Uutiset.
Yeah, and we met the Kurvat Uutiset guys. There was like a hangout. They said you want to come grab some beers and hang out before your show. And they were there, and it was just like you were joking with those guys, and it was just
just drinking beer, talking shit.
Yeah, and then they really liked the gig, and they said that they want to do this, like press some vinyls.
Yeah. But it was all around. It was really good, and it's an interesting thing because you run into people all over the place, people you haven't seen in a long time, and that's always nice.
When this episode is released, you will have just played a show in Tallinn.
Yes.
Do you have any other live shows lined up during the summer? Because there's nothing listed.
I've got something lined up for
Lapiniarvi.
Yeah.
A little festival.
Yeah, I think that's in August.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe just take a bit of time off. Time off will probably be jamming something, but no shows lined up for the summer.
I guess you're a little bit late for festival season with this album, aren't you? It's a bit too close to.
Yeah.
So next year, maybe you'll do some festivals.
I think we've had quite a busy spring as well, so it's not the end of the world.
You've had 5 years in the band. You've been in the band since the start.
Yes.
What have been your favourite shows?
It's all a blur, man. I can't remember any of them.
I think when we did the Entropy thing,
that was
the spoken word record recorded at Kapsakki, and we did like 4 shows, and the one in Runosaari Fest. Was it Livonsaari at Turku?
Is it in Turku, like archipelago?
Yeah.
And I'm stealing that one. That was a good
one. Or that was first one that come to mind.
It was also my birthday, and we got really drunk afterwards. And that was fun. The show was great too. That was a really cool vibe as well. Yeah, and I'm stealing that one. That was a good one.
And Arlene's Grocery for sure.
Yeah, that one as well. Yeah, the Saturday show we did in New York. There was this. It was like a shoegaze night, and we kind of closed it. We got a bit. We were kind of festival had said like we get 30-minute slots, but we got a bit extra that night, and that was really cool. We did the first album almost in its entirety. We kind of
all 3 songs.
We did. We did the half an hour. I'm Not Dead part. We didn't do I'm part today, but we did I'm Not Dead, and then we did Sunshine, kind of a cheeky encore kind of thing. And that was really cool because, we went to see bands in the day, and it was really good quality, like shoegaze, but we thought people have been listening to shoegaze music for like 12 hours at this point. So we kind of decided a few hours before we went on, let's do the first album. Like
your least shoegazy stuff.
Exactly. Yeah. We thought, let's just like kind of pummel this thing into the ground at the end. And it worked really well because we were also a bit like, how are people going to take to a 30-minute instrumental track with Finnish bands? And, they were really cool. It was really into it. And it was cool because we'd made some friends with bands who were playing there. There's a British band called Winter Gardens, and a couple of Canadian bands back called Shallow that were really cool, and a band called Still Depths, which were mind-blowingly good live. And they all came to the show and stuff. That kind of meant a lot to me because we've been hanging out, and they were like, oh, come and see you. And of course I was like, you know how it's like, say, we'll come and see you, but what's the reality of it, So it was really cool because, and also the sound guy had read our technical rider where we had no front lights. He came up to us while we were setting up going, are you guys sure about this? Or we're like, yeah. And then he came afterwards and said, you guys play really good in the dark.
So the final question, what music are you listening to at the moment that listeners of the podcast may not be aware of and should take some time to check out?
I listen to a lot of Irish folk music, and I played with this bouzouki, and Bothy Band is fantastic old group. Dari Farrell, great musician, great singer, plays the bouzouki, performs solo. And all the classics like Blanksty and Andy Irvine, and I listen to a lot of that Irish folk music. And then a lot of power pop stuff, like the Lemon Twigs is my favorite band. Yeah, like album after album there. They're like making like power pop perfection. They have taken things from bands in the past, but they push the envelope.
It's like the 60s made now.
Yeah, they are Beatles good. They are fucking amazing. Those two brothers. Good, yeah.
They are.
One band, they're not a new band by any means, but I've been really digging the first album from Broadcast.
That's a long time ago. That's early 2000s, isn't it?
Yeah, but the Broadcast albums are quite hard to find here. So when we were in New York, I managed to grab the first album. I can't remember what it's called. It's the noise people make with Come On, Let's Go, the classics. But that's really cool. I'm going to go see Massive Attack tomorrow, so I've been listening to a lot of Massive Attack. Massive Attack's one of my all-time favorite bands anyway. In fact, talking of influences, a lot of my songs are just me trying to do Massive Attack, failing miserably, but getting somewhere that works for us. Sonic Rights was just this last weekend. Still recovering from that. Jesu was very good. I love all of Justin Broadrick's stuff. It's kind of stoner doom metal stuff with a band called Acid King. Again, not a new band, but they played a great show. I was really into that. And they really cured my hangover. And it's just an hour of like fuzzy goodness. One artist whose old stuff I recommend is a Finnish artist called Lapsihymy, which people might not have heard of. He does like kind of like Christian rap nowadays, which if that's your bag, that's cool. But
I don't think many listeners to the podcast would be Christian rap fans, but there is a chance.
Yeah, but his early stuff is like some of the most beautiful ethereal electronic music you've ever heard. And because I was just playing, I was DJing at the Sonic Rights Festival, and before Jesu, I put on a Lapsihymy track. And it's always nice to try something festival like that and see how it reacts with people. Because I'd say 99%, 100% of the time, someone comes up and is like, this is amazing. What is this? So it's a really it's a real fulfilling thing to be able to like turn on people to music like that. But yeah, Lapsihymy, his early stuff is amazing. Of course, I mean, I'm very much drinking the Kool-Aid on Geese. I don't know about this industry plant thing, but
I don't think it matters if the music's good. Yeah. It doesn't matter how you end up hearing it.
Yeah, exactly. And I heard about it from like you guys. Because Jorn, I was like, this Geese album's great. I listened to it. I was like, eh. I listened to it again. I was like, eh. I listened to it one more time, and I was like, actually, this is brilliant. I'm really into that.
Yeah. And I also have to mention like choral music. I love classical vocal music. But like I've listened to Schnittke's Choir Concerto, and Durufle's Requiem, Paure's Requiem. Many requiems tend to be really powerful, and Ligeti's Requiem is very like morbid and
Killing Joke's Requiem.
yeah, that's
Right. So, for people wishing to find out more about Ghosts on TV, their website is gotv.com, and they're on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and Bandcamp, which these guys might not have known. Iridescent by Ghosts on TV is out now via Soliti Records. It's on black and splatter vinyl, CD, and cassette, both of those limited, I believe.
Yeah.
And it's also streamable via Bandcamp and all streaming platforms. Anthony and Aapo. Thanks for letting me into your creative hub for a chat.
No worries. Thanks for having us.